Here's my LEGO Technic Geo Tracker model. It's a bit of a special model to me because this is the model of the car that I drive in real life, a 1995 Geo Tracker. So I think because of that, I put a lot more effort than usual into the bodywork, and I think it turned out quite nicely. You can see we got LED headlights. That's what it looks like without them. So basic stuff, we got opening hood, got the 2L motors for drive, servo for steering. Doors have little latches, they open. The rear door also has a bit of a latch, just rotate the spare tire. Rotates this little guy here, that engages with that. So, shut that, shut that. You can also take the roof off, just like in the real car, which I think looks nice. Got it here. And this little bit to go on the door. So the functionality on this model is relatively limited because I wanted it to be something that's actually enjoyable to play with and not overcomplicated. So all the electronic components are run by this Mold King 6.0 unit back there, which I really like because it allows for proportional control on 2 joysticks and control for 2 more things on here, so 6 total. So we've got full suspension, so it's double wishbone independent in the front and a solid axle in the rear. So the front is one of the more interesting things mechanically. It's very skinny. I think it's just about the skinniest possible you can get in an odd width using actual hubs. I'm using the new shaft from the Ford GT set in here, but actually only on one side because it's an asymmetric design using these bevel gears here. So that's what the front suspension is. The rear is a 3-link live axle, just using knob wheels in it because I don't like differentials for off-roaders. For the suspension, in just a moment, I'm using an unusual system where I've got a tow ball down there with an axle or a bar stuck into it and a spring from a LEGO shock absorber on the axle. So I'm finding that this allows for very smooth travel, except that it rubs against the battery box. But other than that, it's quite a responsive system. Pretty good. Alright, get the wheel back on. So then we've got steering, which is pretty simple. Got a servo motor for that. Just runs a rack and pinion. Nothing fancy. The remote, we've got this funny little trigger to hold the lights on hands-free or turn them off. So then I've got a Power Functions medium motor stuck under the floor here. So it runs some bevel gears that run up here, that then run a small linear actuator, that then engages this driving and using a toilet paper roll panel. So that runs this 2-speed gearbox like this. You'll note I'm using a cut-down 24-tooth differential there. I'm doing that because I haven't had a chance to get my hands on the official LEGO 24-tooth clutch. But if I did have that part, I could be doing this with all original LEGO there. Now, there are some non-original things other places, like the Mold King Power I mentioned, these metal universal joints. And I also 3D printed these wheel covers. They're the same size as the ones from the back of the Ford GT set, but they're only officially available in dark blue, so I printed them in black. So yeah, that's the gearbox system. Yeah, see we got the linear actuator in there. Oh yeah, and it also moves this little lever in the cabin, which isn't that helpful, but wasn't hard to add, and it's a nice little touch, I think. So before we get to the drive, I just want to quick point out one thing that was a fun little detail for me, which is these 3D printed little license plates. So this here is a model of a generic Ontario license plate, the province of Canada I'm from. So it's just custom printed and designed by me. Same format of the 2x4 tile, but it's got 3-dimensional lettering, and it's printed in 2 colors. So because I'm kind of a license plate enthusiast in some ways, and I wanted to see how far I could stretch that concept. I also designed ones based on the two U.S. states that I think have the coolest designs, which are Colorado and Oregon. So these are also options to go on the vehicle. It was a fun little project for me. Not really Technic, but I enjoyed it. So let's try driving a bit. Right now we're in high gear, which is maybe a little ambitious for this trail I'm on, especially with all these leaves that just kind of slow things down. It's actually doing pretty good. I'm actually impressed. Probably not going to make it up over that route in this gear though, so gear down. Let's see what it can do. Nope. Yeah, low ground clearance is going to be a problem here, I think. Yeah. We are high-centered, but we can get out of it at least. These wet leaves are not ideal for traction, and this thing is frankly too small to be a perfect off-roader. Anyways. Try a bit more driving. We're in high gear again. Oop, that's too much for this gear. So we can drive around. Ooh. Yeah, let's try low gear. There we go. Back to high. Alright, we're a little stuck again, so let's hop down to low gear. We are pretty much high-centered on this rock. I don't think we're getting out of it without help. Alright, thanks for some help. We're back on the road. Back to high. Quite a steep part here. Oh boy! And that would be my bike. Can we get out of this one in low gear? Uh-oh. I think my steering's broken. Maybe not. Yeah. The hill was too much for the driver, I think. Well, I'm quite happy with how this model turned out. I think it looks really good. Probably my best looking model ever, in my opinion. Other people might disagree, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. The performance, I think, was good. I mean, as good as I would hope it to be, given the scale and the stockish appearance I was going for. The functionality wasn't as interesting as I would like, but there were a few interesting things to me, like shifting with the toilet paper roll panel and the very skinny front independent suspension. So I enjoyed it on that front. But yeah, mostly it was just special to build an actually satisfactory model of the car I own. Pretty cool to be able to have them together, I think.